So, what is going on with XDefiant? The game that everybody was looking forward to and talking about, all of a sudden there's no new update. Well, we have this article in from Insider Gaming written by Tom Henderson to try to see where this game is going, what's going on here. But before that, we need to go a little bit of context. Back a few weeks ago, we discovered about the financial report for Ubisoft, and one of the games that was supposed to come out quarter 4 is supposed to be X Defiant. It's actually the last one on the list, and all the games in this quarter have already released, except for X Defiant. So what's going on with that? Well, here we have this article to read. Let's take a little look at it. And this is written by Tom Henderson a few days ago, but it's relevant as we continue forward for this game. In September 2023, Ubisoft had a free-to-play gem on their hands, XDefiant. XDefiant. The gameplay was good. The community was bustling. Transparency from the devs was highly praised, and most of all, the game had a really passionate and dedicated fan community. And I'm still waiting for it, by the way. 6 months on, and things are somewhat different for XDefiant, with fans increasingly expressing their frustrations with the lack of updates. According to Ubisoft's Quarter 3 2024 earnings report, XDefiant is scheduled to be released by the end of Quarter 4 2024, which is this month, the end of the quarter, March 31st, 2024. But with just 1 week to go until that date, there's been no indication of a release. The once low transparency is now seemingly dead, and XDefiant hasn't had an update for some time. Speaking with developers at Ubisoft, who wish to remain anonymous because they are not authorized to speak about company plans, it's understood that XDefiant was aiming to release during the last week of February when this internal release date was made public. Via Ubisoft's earning call, a deadline was obviously missed. So here I just mentioned at the top of the show this video about the earnings call for Quarter 4, and this was referring to that particular call, that document, which is Quarter 4. All the games have been released except for XDefiant. Insider Gaming understands that XDefiant has missed dozens of internal targets in the past couple of years, including release dates, putting the game firmly in the realm of other Ubisoft titles that are constantly in limbo. Developers working on the project are becoming increasingly frustrated with the lack of progress, and in short, the game's shortcomings stem from the executive pursuit to try to copy Call of Duty rather than building their own game. Creatively, it's frustrating for the team, but from a technical perspective, it also presents new challenges. It has become the main reason for delays. Quote, the never ending hunt to chase COD and add pointless stuff always breaks the current build, said one source, which often then requires the days of fixing the game. As is generally always the case with games in limbo, the root of the problem comes from the higher ups, with the developers left with the burden. In truth, if you're a fan of Xdefiant, I would be a little more wary in the future of the whole quote open transparency thing, as it usually has bigger implications and doesn't reflect what's truly going on. So the big question: when will Xdefiant release? It's a great question, and will likely why Ubisoft has been silent on the matter for months. Because in short, I don't think they are very every. I don't think even they know. The article concludes with the good news is that the game isn't in the good news is that the game isn't in danger of being cancelled, and development is still ongoing at the usual rate. In fact, just today, XDefiant had a substantial playtest to test the netcode, online store, social media tabs, etc. And the current plan is to have another large open public test session as soon as possible. So while I don't have any internal release dates right now, and to be honest, it will be pointless to say it anyway, we're probably still a good few months away from release as feedback from the next public playtest session is taken on the board. Okay, so by reading this, we see that the game is not going to be canceled, not at this point yet. A lot of people are saying cancel the game. No, according to this article from Tom Henderson, nope, it's not going to be canceled. It's just delayed, and progress is going at a useful rate. But we cannot say any release dates yet. It's going to be hard to pinpoint one, especially without an update. Okay. And speaking of XDefiant and the developers, we have a tweet here on from Modern Warzone. They retweeted this following thing. XDefiant is excited to produce some Pixels of Mark or Mark Rubin has denied the claims that their game is being delayed because of the new features and chasing Call of Duty. Quote, the delay has been due to tech issues. We talked about it. Whoever said chasing COD, Call of Duty, in Tom's report was a quote major eye roll, as shown here with Marco Rubin, the the one who's helping with the development of X Defiant. So yeah, that's a major eye roll. Why? Because based on how the game looks like when we played it ourselves, it it looks very fun. Like I would play this all day, literal, actual. I would play X Defiant all day if I had to, if I wanted to. But of course, I have other games to play. But that point stands. They don't want to play. They don't want to copy Call of Duty. The reason why they're delayed is because of tech issues. And remember, the last time we were reporting on this, we were talking about this, is because they were making sure that the game is being fixed, especially with friend requests, friend code, network code, everything about their online multiplayer. Back in the beta, I could even play with a PS5 friend. That's how they want to fix it. They want to make sure all the social stuff is good first, then the gameplay, and then everything else can follow suit. So, with that being said, here's what my thoughts is on this. Based on this, the article and the tweet that was by Mark Rubin, I think we can say that they're not trying to chase caught. Not in the way that, not copy, because the way that the game is, it looks fun already. I'm ready to play it. And the fact that they want to do another open playtest. I really think they're delaying the game, making sure it's good, and then they're gonna release another playtest. Whenever that could be, and then from that playtest, they're going to determine, hey, is this for release already? Is this good for release? Based on the feedback from us, the gamers. If the feedback that they receive is good enough, but not is good enough, they might release it soon. However, based on those results, if the game feedback on the next public playtesting session is not up to par with their standards, then they're not going to release the game right away. You, they want to make sure that the game is released in a proper state. Now, a few days ago, here on Yuki Productions, we were talking about a topic about indie development, indie games, and the state of AAA gaming. If you have not read that yet, watch that yet. Make sure you do so, because there we talked about how AAA games have been rushing their content out, their games out, to the point where it crashes. We are seeing a spike in games that are rushed because they want to make deadlines. They want to meet the deadlines by the higher ups. Okay, now Ubisoft is considered AAA, but X Defiant is trying to be their own game. Okay, So this is why XDefiant is trying to be very very careful to make sure they make the best game possible because they want to make it a good game, not a rush game where you want to rush it out because the fans said so. The fans want it now. There's a big thing in game development. You have to be very careful with how your fans react because you have to take the feedback, you have to take the criticism, you have to take everything into consideration, especially in the game development world. Because nowadays, a lot of people hate modern gaming because it's rushed, because of this and that, because of politics now getting into the games industry. Now, will anybody beat Call of Duty? No. In my honest opinion, nobody's going to beat Call of Duty. Because let's just face it, they're already a $1 billion company, maybe $2 billion company right now. But can XDefiant bring competition? Yes. I really think Call of Duty needs competition, especially at this point in the game. Especially at this point. Because let's face it, Call of Duty is a juggernaut when it comes to FPS. But nowadays, if we look at the Steam charts, their Steam chart report for Call of Duty, they're not even top 10. In fact, the game that I'm going to play for out of pocket Sundays soon is Grand Theft Auto 5, and their top 10 Call of Duty's not even close. And we're talking about Call of Duty, the new one, not the original. Obviously, the original ones are old, but look at this. If we take a look at Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, the new one that everybody likes to hate, and for good reason, last 30 days, 73,038 players. That sounds like a lot, it's not. That's a minus 10,184.4 players for a minus percentage of minus 12. That means they dropped 12%, 12.24%, or 12 point quarter percent in the last 30 days. Okay, and that's even. I think this is in counting the new season here too, because if you take a look at where we are in the last 48 hours, so right now we started Monday, March 25th at 72,000. It goes up and then it goes down and it goes up. Oh, and one point, March 26th, it was down to 38,000. And then it goes up again and it goes down and it goes up and then it goes way down. Then it goes up again. Now, possible possible reasons why it goes up and down. Up because right now there's a new season out coming up, and we have the introduction of Warzone Mobile. Warzone Mobile. I'm not sure if they're gonna take those numbers into play, but Warzone Mobile has just been released, and I think they're gonna count those numbers. And then on April 3rd, I believe, April 3rd, I just read this too. I think they're only going to go up because it's Rebirth Island. The They're going to return to Rebirth Island on April the 3rd. That's not an April Fool's joke, but it is official real thing, Rebirth Island, and therefore they're going to call it Rebirth Day to celebrate the release or the return to Rebirth Island from the original Warzone when they started back in 2020. I believe 2020, 2021. But can you count on nostalgia to bring players back, or are they gone? Are they? I mean, excuse me. Can you count on nostalgia with this Rebirth Island in this case to bring back players? I will tell you who's not coming back. You're looking at him. because I have something called Mario. I have something called Final Fantasy. I have something called Tales of Graces coming up. I have something called Fortnite. That's why. I have other games to play. Okay? And yeah, and remember, I want to remind you guys, um, this game Call of Duty is $70. And I also want to remind you that XDefiant is going to be free. Ubisoft, free game. Okay? And if you want more comparison, look at the other games here. Yes, they're all red, but that's just because they're old games. They're red. Okay? But I'd rather go back to a regular old Call of Duty than the new one. That's what I'm gonna say. And oh yeah, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 mods. Oh, they're hitting hard. They're they're good. But let me know what you think. What do you guys think? The question of the day is: do you think XDefiant will release within the next 2 months, meaning April or May? And I heard rumors of May. I'm going to look into that more in a for our next video on XDefiant. But that's the question of the day. See ya, and we'll see you night and on the next video, y'all.